Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to this NXT Raw and Opinions video. I'm just going to give you a few minutes of my thoughts and then we'll get to your thoughts. Let's just start with the match ratings. So Karmen against Jaida against Kelani, good 96%. Lash and Jakara taking on Zaria and Ruca, great 56%. Stacks against Shawn Spears, good 95%. Eddy against Andre Chase, good 95%. And then a 6-woman tag match, great 67%. So I'm going to score this about a 7.5775. I don't think it quite gets into the 8 range. I really enjoyed this show, though. I mean, this is so much better than Raw and SmackDown. Yesterday, I scored Raw, I think it was like a 5.75. And here I am saying tonight's show was a 7.5775. So much better than what we're getting on a Monday and a Friday at the moment. I do think there was a little bit in ring that needed to be tightened. Opening match was really good, but maybe just went on a little bit too long. Stacks against Shawn Spears was okay. Eddy Thorpe, Andre Chase, more of the same. It was okay. I do feel like those were the areas that maybe we could have just tightened and improved. Moose was never going to do much for me. I've only ever seen him a couple of times. I know, though, there's a lot of people out there that were excited for that moment, so I can recognize the moment and how big the moment was, but it didn't really do much for me. I was waiting to find out more about the group, and I suppose there's a little bit of sadness that we didn't really get much there. They do seem to be anti-NXT, anti-WWE, though. Like, everyone's on notice. No one is safe. This doesn't feel like a group that WWE and NXT are working with, which is kind of crazy because they said on commentary that they were performance center recruits that they have seen around. So, are they still performance center recruits? Like, that would be a bit awkward if they are. So, have they left? Were they getting disillusioned? Were they frustrated? We need to hear from them. Nothing this week, and that's fine, but we're going to need to hear from them sooner rather than later. Don't want to keep dragging this out like what we're seeing with the Wyatt 6. You know, we keep waiting for them. Obviously, we know there's stuff going on there. So I'm not having a pop at the Wyatt 6, but I'm just saying, like, I'd like to get to the answers sooner rather than later with this new group. Hardy Boys next week. Bit of a shame they weren't actually there to kind of, you know, interrupt and us have another moment, you know. It was all kind of done with a challenge and then like a video response. But, you know, it's okay. It was fine. I mean, Hardy Boys next week, you can't be down on that. So that's fine. That's great. As I said, the Moose thing didn't quite land for me, but I recognise it's a big moment. Would have liked a little bit more from the group, a little bit more in the matches. But really, it's so good, so entertaining. I really did enjoy this. And obviously the big talking point, Ricky Starks is now Ricky Saints. I don't have a problem with the name change. Feels like it's really close. Starks, Saints. I mean, it's not a million miles off. And I've not seen much pushback, to be honest. I'm sure there is. There's always going to be complaints. But I've not seen much pushback, so... yeah, next week looks stacked. Can't wait for next week's show. But to be honest with you, I just can't wait for any NXT because it's just so good. It's just so good. I just hope that when Evolve launches, it can be as good, you know? So let's get to your thoughts. Tyler said, I thought it was great. Personally, I wanted more from the group. I like Ricky Saints' new name, and I cannot wait for next week's show. I'm going to go 7 out of 10, says Tyler. I think me and Tyler really agreed on a lot of stuff there. Joey said, NXT has easily become the top wrestling show out of all the brands after tonight. So many signings of big names. If we had half this many people show up on Raw or SmackDown, we would go insane. Moose was a shocker. Then following it up with the Hardys. What's next? Triple H, take notes because HBK is cooking. Nishi said, what a fantastic episode of NXT. Loved every bit of it. It had Moose, Ricky, Jordynne, an announcement for the Hardy Boys match. 10 out of 10. By the way, R.I.P. Mr. Stone. Coach Co said people complained when Volta became Gunther and when Eli Drake became LA Knight. Now it seems like no one cares. And now they're doing the same thing to Ricky. How could they possibly do this to him too? Give it a month and no one will care, says Coach Co. I agree. I don't even think that many people care now, to be honest. Corbin said, I couldn't watch it, but Moose and Ricky Saints, I would say it was good. Richard Jr. said, I hope that the former Knockouts champion, Ali, makes her debut in NXT as a heel wrestler. I don't know what's happening with her. She was the bunny, wasn't she, in AEW? But I don't really know where she's gone. Brady said the main event was fire, and it showed that the NXT women's division is on fire. Sadly, no Tatum tonight. I love Soul and Zaria versus the Meta Girls, which ended with a Soul Snatcher. Briggsy said 9 out of 10 for me, and the only reason it's not a 10 is because my tiny brain couldn't keep up with what was happening, and I was overstimulated. Next week looks stacked as well. I can't wait. Homer said, since CW goes head-to-head with a Fox show called Kitchen Nightmare, is it like last night's Raw on Netflix? Need a new booker? I don't know what you mean. You're saying that it goes up against Kitchen Nightmares, does it, on a Tuesday? I think the ratings have been excellent for NXT, so there's certainly no concerns, and no one's calling for any new bookers at the moment because Shawn Michaels, he's cooking. There might be a Kitchen Nightmare on the other channel, but Shawn Michaels, his kitchen is on fire. Las Vegas Matt said the TNA NXT infusion is exciting. I wonder if Zaria wouldn't have been a better number one contender for Stephanie. An exciting show from top to bottom. It does feel like NXT needs another 2-hour show throughout the week to give their bloated roster some TV time. 8 out of 10. Ricky Saints? Question mark. So seems like Las Vegas Matt's not keen on Ricky Saints. I Am the Colour Red said, great show. Love how NXT put on a solid show whilst hyping next week's show. I enjoyed it a lot more than this week's Raw. So an 8, said I Am the Colour Red. Oh, look at that. Mitchell said, I don't know how NXT has quietly become the best show of the week, but I am here for it. Women's division is on fire. Not sure how I feel about Ricky Saints, but the fact that he was all over the show was cool. Hardy's next week. I'm going to go 775, but it deserves an 8 club invitation. I really like that. 775, but yeah. Here's an invite to the 8 club. You can certainly swing by, yeah. I like that. Comic Book Nerd said, I'm scoring NXT another one of my extremely rare 9 out of 10s. Dean said, I thought NXT was okay this week. Don't think it was not as good as last week, but next week looks like it's going to be a good show. Seems stacked next week. I was shocked to see Moose. Love the stream, and I'll see you for the next one. Keep up the good work. Dean, shout out to you. Alex said the matches were like 8.5. The show tonight, 4.3. Okay, Alex, enjoying the matches, but not the show. Muggsy said, great show tonight, 8. Don't know what match was my favourite, but I'm hyped that a fellow Canadian won Let's Go Karmen. Moose on the same screen as Oba was insane, and it's only going to get better next week. Can't wait for everything, especially Ricky Saints and the freaking Hardys. Yes, I'm a MILF. Man, I love Fraxium. Muggsy, the MILF. Shout out to you. Take It 1990 said, shout out to you, Daze. I was late watching. Shout out to you, Take It 1990. I started watching right after the end of Lash, Legend and Jakara against Zaria and Sol Ruca's match. From that point on, NXT was fire. 9 out of 10. Sanan says Moose, or screams it. Carl said it was decent. I'm glad that Karmen won. WTF was Ashante doing just standing there? That is true. He deserved that chair shot for not helping. WTF are they doing with Zaria? From monster to background character, and then straight from that to beating Meta Girls. Yeah, they are taking the long road with her, aren't they, seemingly? Chris said, hello, Daze. Hello, Chris. NXT is just so much fun. It seems light years ahead of Raw and SmackDown right now. 7.5. Felt like ladies' night tonight. I was hoping for something more from the new faction, but still goods. Can't forget about Ricky Saints. Zoe must feel important to the company now. I do think that's a factor, you know. A lot of people are saying it's because they want to own his trademarks and everything, and that could be true. But then you can point to quite a few people that have come in recently where we've not changed their name. So I do think there might be something there with the whole Zoe Starks situation. John Elite said it was an okay show. Loved the surprises tonight. Don't mind the minor name change for Ricky. Can't wait for Hardy Boys next week as well as Moose defending the X Division title and Ricky's in-ring debut. Kind of wish that we had got more about the new group. Jazz said 6. Oba Femi Moose promo started off good, but I thought the ending was a bit flat. I wasn't too invested in today's matches, but I did enjoy the main events. All 6 of those will be on the main roster by 2026, I think. Thanks for a good stream. Had fun. Jazz, shout out to you, buds. Jimothy said Ricky Saints is a horrible name. They would have been better keeping his name and telling him not to do that stupid pose, said Jimothy. Matthew said NXT tonight was a classic. Moose in NXT and defending the X Division Championship. Hardy's returning to WWE and TNA Tag Team Championships being up for grabs. I predict there will be 2 winner-take-all matches that stand and deliver. This was 10 out of 10, says Matthew. Nails and NY said 10 slices of cake out of 10. Bit worried about Ethan's nose, but he's still brawling, so it must not be broken or anything. Got my tickets for Madison Square Garden. I'm hoping to see Ego versus Ricky there. Wow, you're actually going to be in the theater. That's great. That is so cool. That is such a special venue. And like all the lighting and the way that it's done, it's going to look so good on TV. Yeah, very special. Now's an NY, shout out to you. Casey said solid show. Could have done without... Don't know what that... Oh, Moose is that. But it was eventual. I like Ricky Saints' name and his lead into potential feuds in NXT. Soul and Zaria are showing real cohesion as a team. Loved Jordynne Grace's debut with the 2 women's champs, and the 2.0 crew struck again. 8.5, says Casey. Adam said, I hate the name change. Ricky Starks is way better than Ricky Saints, but I'm glad that he is in the big leagues. Kelly the Wise Lady said, this week was good. Matches were okay. Of course, the main event was awesome, but all the stuff that happened outside the ring is bonkers. What will become of Mr. Chase? Will he start a new school? And who attacked Mr. Stone? Next week is going to cook. Can't wait. 7 out of 10. Ryder said 7 out of 10 overall, solid show. A little hit and miss in ring-wise. NXT continues to do a great job of providing talking points across the 2 hours. Some variety, unpredictability, and I've noticed how great of a job they're doing at setting up loaded cards for the following week. Uncle Revel said, I thought it was fun, but nothing outstanding. Matches were okay. I think NXT comes in waves. It's okay to have an average or even below average week to build up that next wave, said Uncle Revel. Raymond said, Daze, so I thought NXT tonight was very good. I enjoyed it a lot and the matches were fantastic. I would rate NXT tonight a 9. Shout out to you. See you Friday. See you Friday, buds. Kruger said, I don't mind the name change. It'll take a little getting used to, but it's not a huge change. TNA deal seems very beneficial for NXT, but I don't see it helping TNA much. NXT must be sending them actual stars, even if they send someone like Shayna. Well, Shayna is like main roster, so they're not going to be sending main roster. I mean, we've sent Cora Jades, we've sent Thraxium, we've sent Wesley. So we are sending. It's not like we're sending, Hank and Tank, which I know some people would really enjoy, but we are sending people that are really towards the top end of NXT, you know? Wesley's been there for ages, Cora Jade's, Fraxium, you know, so we are sending over some good names. They've all been in action in recent weeks. Obviously, we're teasing Masha Slamovich against Cora Jade as well, so I think they're getting some out of it. If nothing else, they're getting their stars on a bigger show. NXT gets way more viewers than TNA. So the fact that TNA is being mentioned around NXT, that alone is great coverage for them. A little bit of a fan said, great show. NXT was fun to watch. Matches had a lot of energy. Johnny said, another week of NXT dominating the main roster shows. I'm all on the road to Stand and Deliver and then WrestleMania. NXT 7.5. Chris said, awesome. The gang attacked Oba Femi was fire, says Chris. Cameron said, I thought NXT was good tonight. I would give it a 7. Might be a little controversial, but I don't get the hate for Moose due to the allegations taking place back in 2009 and considering people still love Stone Cold when he's done the same. I really can't comment because I don't know the allegations, so that's something I need to look into. Larry said the show was great. Ricky finally got a name. Women's division was on display tonight with a 6-woman tag match, tag team match, and a triple threat match were all great. Moose and Oba will cook next week. It's Moose and Lexis next week, but we are building to Moose and Oba. Hardy's next week, and then Mr. Stone was destroyed backstage, said Larry. So an 8. It's Ryan said, last few shows have been better. Love Soul Ruca. She's insane in the ring. Andre Chase is always a fun show of a character. Moose versus Oba, yes. Karmen versus Steph, thumbs up. Honestly feel that Jordynne is going to overshadow Giulia, which is not good at all. Giulia needs to be presented as a threat. 6.5 says it's Ryan. Ryan said NXT is always the A show. Another week that was fire. Moose and Ricky Saints in NXT. Hardy Boys next week. NXT is really goated. Brendan, shout out to you. Talking about the hockey. And here we've got Rhea. Capri Sun said, I fear that this is the greatest NXT episode of all time. I think that Ricky's debut match is going to be amazing and that the women's division is literally white hot. So let's go over, that was all the comments. Let's go over to the scores. So here you can see people really enjoying it. So just over 100 votes and we're looking at 68% great. 14% said all time. Adding those together, it's going to bring us out as 82% great, which is really high. Only 2% of people said this was a bad show. 15% said it was good or okay, but that's where the vast majority have gone. That's where I would have gone as well. You know, we've got to be getting like 8.25, 8.5 for me to be going up to that level. So my 7.5775 is very much in here. So I agree. Yeah. We're back in line. Yeah. Me and the community. We're back on the same page again. That will probably last till Friday. But there we go. That was NXT. And I'm really pleased to see that people seem to really enjoy it. So thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate the support as always. And I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.